Hola my friends, this is Sal Montas and welcome back to my channel. We are doing a bit of a different video today because, as you might have seen from a post from a couple days ago, I haven't been feeling all that well, which is why last week's episode of the Every Fan Reacts series was pushed back by a day. I had to give myself a little bit of time to recover from the sickness, but thankfully I'm feeling a lot better now. However, because of that, I ended up kind of falling really behind on, taking my usual notes, checking over games that happened during the week. And so I got to about Thursday, Friday, and I realized, I don't really have much to go off to do my regular episode. Luckily, I did have this idea that I kind of wanted to do right now that we are about to enter the Olympic break with the NHL. And so I decided to go ahead and make this video, which is a bit of a little vibe check to see how the entire NHL is doing. I'm not an analytics guy. I'm not a former player with insights into the game. I'm just a fan who, likes to make fun of other fans with my YouTube videos. And so I think I can give a bit of an insight as to, what's kind of the vibe going around in the NHL. So I figured this video might not need as much pre-planning to do as my other videos. So I figured, why not? Let's try it out. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go through each division and talk about every single team, see where they're at right now at the Olympic break, see how fans are feeling. So yeah, just basically hang out for a little while, talk a little hockey with you guys before the men's games start out this week. I believe the women's games have already started, so I'm trying to keep up with that as much as I can as well. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Oh, and before I completely forget, also please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It's really cool. I believe we've already hit 1,300 subscribers, which is awesome. We're getting this channel back on track after a couple of months of being stagnant. So I'm very excited about that. Thank you so much for those who have stayed. And for those who might be new watching this video, I typically do, fan reaction parodies, but every once in a while, if I can, I like to do these little sit downs with you guys, hang out for a little while. And so, yeah, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, let's get started. Also, as you can see, I'm wearing a Team Canada jersey because y'all know I am Canada down. No, I'm just kidding. I really don't have a dog in the fight. This is the only Olympics jersey, international team jersey that I own, so I figured I'd wear it for this occasion. But I digress. Let's go ahead and get started with arguably the messiest division in the entire NHL, and a team that I think really exemplifies why that is, with the Atlantic Division, and talking first about the Boston Bruins. So Boston had a really great January. I think they had a 5 or 6 game winning streak. They've been feeling really, really good, getting back into a good stride after ending 2025 in a pretty rough state. They're currently in the second wild card in the East and only a couple points away from Detroit with one more game in hand than them, I believe. So it's not that far out of a possibility that the Boston Bruins do end up making another run after the break and, make the playoffs. But of course, the way that they entered the break, it was a bit of a backbreaker. Obviously, you guys probably saw last weekend we had the Stadium Series in Tampa where Boston was leading 5-1, I believe, at one point in the second period. Completely collapsed with, I would say, a bit of help from, the referees providing Tampa with a lot of power plays. But nonetheless, Boston gives up the lead, ends up going into overtime, then the shootout, and my boy, former Penguin Jake Gensel, gets the win for Tampa. A rough night for Boston. And then afterwards, I think we had that Florida game where we had that big controversial elbow to the head on Charlie McAvoy by, I can't remember which Panther it was, but it left him with a really puffed up cheek. That looked pretty gnarly. I don't know how that wasn't called anything major in the game and wasn't looked at further afterwards. But if you watch this league for long enough, you'll know that there's certain teams that they get away with a little bit more than others, I would say. But I'll leave it at that. So yeah, I think the Bruins are in an okay spot vibe-wise. They're probably also going to get a bit of a boost this weekend, given that it's the Super Bowl. Well, if Boston fans get the outcome they want out of the Super Bowl, it'll probably be a boost. But if that doesn't happen, it's probably going to be a bit rough for them these next couple of weeks, not going to lie. Anyways, next we have the Buffalo Sabres, who have been just kind of a great story so far this season. I really like rooting for teams who have not made the playoffs for a very long time, who have maybe never won a championship, that kind of stuff. I'm always rooting for those underdog stories. And, we've seen the Buffalo Sabres just completely blossom into an absolute wagon this season, which it was pretty surprising. But also, I'm pretty happy to see that fan base finally, reaping the rewards after waiting for so long for something to happen with that roster. Players like Lyons, Samuelson, Dahlin have been having really good seasons, and they continue to do really, really well. I know they did have a bit of a bad loss against Pittsburgh right before the break, which a bit of a bummer for them for sure. Slows down the momentum to a halt. But I think they're in a pretty decent spot right now in the first wild card position. But of course, you have a lot of teams behind them, so Buffalo can't really get that comfortable. Either way, I'm really rooting for them. I think the vibes are pretty okay heading into the break. So we'll just have to see if they get back into another really hot streak coming back from the Olympics. The Detroit Red Wings. So the Red Wings probably seem like they kind of needed this break coming up. Another team that's been a surprise this season, has been playing really, really well. Great performances from guys like Larkin, DeBrincat, John Gibson, and net. But in particular, an unsung hero that I've been seeing a lot is Simon Edvinsson, who happens to be kind of injured right now. It really does seem like the team misses him. So, I don't believe he was chosen for the Swedish roster. I don't think he made the initial cut, and afterwards he got injured, so he wasn't going to be able to be an injury replacement anyways. Really, really tough for him. But you can also see it on, the brighter side that with the Olympic break, he can get healthy, get back with the team, and hopefully for Detroit fans, they can get going back again after the break. I mean, they did just hand Colorado their first shutout. I believe, their first shutout loss of the season, which is pretty incredible. But also then you have the Utah loss right after, where everyone they were just dragging their feet trying to make it to the break. So Detroit is going to be a bit of a question mark still, but I don't have too many doubts that they'll be in the playoff mix. I think they're going to be pretty safe in that top three of the Atlantic Division. Next up, we have the defending Stanley Cup champions, the Florida Panthers, and I gotta be honest with you guys, I would probably be panicking right now if I was the Florida Panthers. Obviously, you get a rough hand dealt to you right at the beginning. You lose guys like Barkov and Tkachuk for such a long time this season. Barkov, I don't think, has even come back yet from his injury. So that's all just very, very unfortunate. And with the Atlantic Division just being so competitive this season, the Panthers have really fallen behind, which it's not the end of the world for them. Clearly, we saw in 2022 when they managed to just barely sneak in as the wild card and had that incredible upset against Boston, leading to the Stanley Cup final run against Vegas. So if a team can do it, it's probably Florida. I'm just not that confident in them right now. And there are a couple of bright spots right now heading into the break, like Sam Bennett, someone who a lot of people said was an Olympic snub for Team Canada, being named one of the injury replacements and being named a replacement for a Tampa player, which, I'm sure Florida fans got a kick out of that. It definitely boosts the vibe a little bit, But yeah, Florida just has a lot of ground to make up, and I'm not really sure which team is going to dramatically drop off and allow them to sneak in. It's going to be a close one for sure. Now, moving over to probably the other end of the vibes spectrum, it's the Montreal Canadiens, who, again, I keep saying a lot of teams have been surprising this season. I've been pretty high on the Canadiens, the new roster coming up in the past couple of years, but I didn't expect them to be this good this early. Of course, you got the guys like Suzuki, like Caulfield, who should probably be in Italy right now, but is it? Because I don't know why. I guess he's too small, but tied third for scoring goals in the league. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I know the goaltending has been a bit of a question for Montreal for the last season, the entire season, to be honest, in particular with Sam Montembeault. It's really been left to, I believe, Dobish to carry the front load of the team at the moment. And he's been pretty solid. So overall, I just think the vibes are great for Montreal. They're one of my favorite teams to watch for sure. Next, we have the Ottawa Senators, who are in a bit of they're climbing, they're clawing their way back up in the standings, just trying their absolute darnest to to continue being good. Ottawa really feels like a bit of a tragedy in the sense that they're not really bad. It's just that when you look at the lineup of goaltending, similar, again, goaltending being the key, you have guys after Linus Ullmark who are just, they're not NHL caliber goalies. Merelainen, who had a great run last season, he's still a kid in development, couldn't quite handle it this year. They've tried Sogard, I think. They've tried Hunter Shepard, who, when you look at him in front of a net, he's just the tiniest little goalie for some reason. They hired James Reimer, for God's sake, during in the middle of a Colorado game. Luckily, some of their stars, like Tim Stützle, have been really picking up the slack as of late. And with Ullmark coming back, it does seem like the Sens, are set up to hopefully have a bit of a run after the Olympic break. They definitely seem like the more competitive, aside from maybe Columbus, out of all the teams that are not in a playoff spot in the East, they're one of the more competitive teams that really seem like they want to make it. So we'll see what happens after the Olympics. But yeah, vibes are vibes are up and down. I feel like that's a pretty good representation of the Sens. They're always up and down. Right now, they're on the rise. And I'm hoping for the fans that they continue on that trajectory. The Tampa Bay Lightning, I would say, are probably the best team in the NHL right now. I mean, nobody really comes close to them. They recently got through an 11-game winning streak, I believe, a 15-game point streak. They had that amazing comeback against Boston, sparked by Andrei Vasilevsky, challenging Jeremy Swayman to a goalie fight at the Stadium Series. I mean, it was so fun to watch. They're just never out of a game, or they can just stomp you like they did against Florida right before the break. And I haven't even really mentioned, Nikita Kucherov being just probably the best, maybe at the very least second best player in 2026 so far. I mean, the dude is just having another one of those runs where he's being like crazy good, like putting up 3, 4, maybe even 5 points a night. But people just don't talk a lot about him because he's not the McDavids, he's not the McKinnons of the world that the media really focus on when it comes to like MVP races and stuff like that. But he has been incredible, and I think it's really worth mentioning. They have had a lot of injuries with guys like Point, and I believe Cirelli was the other one who went down a little while ago. They ended up getting replaced for Team Canada, so a little bit less representation at the Olympics, but also on the other hand, kind of talking like I did with Detroit, gives them a little bit more time to recover and really get well so that they are, completely ready to come back after the break and make a run. I would say that they're poised to make another run to the final. I see them at the very least making the conference final. I just don't know who else in the East can really stop them right now. So yeah, vibes are through the roof, I would say, with Tampa. Just really, really good time over there. Last in the Atlantic, last in alphabetical order. Actually, I'm not really sure. No, the Panthers are last in the Atlantic right now. But right above them are the Toronto Maple Leafs, who they've had a bit of a streak the past week, same as the Sens. I believe they just won 3 in a row right before the break. Pretty solid wins against teams like Edmonton. So for sure, the vibes got to be a little bit better than they were a couple weeks back. I do remember very well that when I was doing the last couple episodes of the Every Fan Reaction videos that, the feelings were that Toronto was kind of done. They had a pretty horrible January, to be honest. And so it felt like they weren't going to make the playoffs. But I mean, maybe Matthew Nice really did know what he was talking about when he said, hey, I don't check the standings because I know we'll make the playoffs. I don't have that much faith in the Leafs making the playoffs, but again, you never know with this sport. Crazier things have happened. Hey y'all, Future Sal here. As I might have explained at the beginning of the video, this entire 4 division video that I planned to make ended up being a lot longer than I realized. I'm still not done editing every single piece of the video, so that's why I decided, hey, instead of releasing one long, boring, hour-long video, how about I just release them by division? That way I can get some content out to you all a little bit more frequently this coming week. So that's what I'm going to be doing, which means I'm going to cut it off here for today at the Atlantic Division, but stay tuned. The next divisions coming up should be popping up in your feed pretty soon. And yeah, as always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what y'all's opinions were on the video, what opinions you have of your own team, and yeah, let's have a discussion down in the comment section. I always appreciate those. And as always, remember that kindness is free to give, so go out and spread some today.